thoughts of Mike Steph, this marks a new beginning. Thanks for supporting, a total reinvention. The soul is still here, but the vibe's a little different. Unpredictable, hide the kids and the women. Sports of all sorts, music mixed with living. Rep New York City, but ain't the politician. Always bring the heat, Steph bacon in the kitchen. Big shout to y'all, I appreciate the listen. Donnie put the rest, but I'm still in the best. In the word of what I do, all y'all know the rest. I live it, I breathe it, I'm the whole definition. The pinnacle, the ultimate, I'm on a new mission. The salty thoughts of Mike Steph, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, the best in the world at what he does. Tap in.
You have one saved message. Saved message.
Hey man, I just called to say fuck all your teams. Fuck the Mets. Fuck the Jets. Whoever else up there that you be cheering for and shit. That's all I gotta say. The South got something to say.
To replay this message, sorry, to...
Hey man, I just called to say fuck all your teams. Fuck the Mets. Fuck the Jets. Whoever else up there that you be cheering for and shit. That's all I gotta say. The South got something to say.
What up, people? Welcome to another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, best in the world at what he does. Yeah, I'm not in a great mood today. I mean, lately, when have I been in a great mood? I can't even decide whether or not I'm going to keep my hood on or I'm going to take the hood off. As you can tell, I have no green paraphernalia on today. I don't even have football paraphernalia on today. And tell you the truth, this team right now, the Golden State Warriors, will be in the crosshairs of a very pointed rant sooner than later. But got plenty of time for that. Well, we got like 60 some odd games left to go with those mother effers. I'm not talking about them. Talking about my New York Jets just today. And how I must be a loon to continue watching what I watch, to continue being a fan of this godforsaken team, to be a loyalist when week after week after week, season after season after season, year after year after year, decade after decade after decade after decade, I get my heart broken over and over again. Hence, why this week I am the Heartbreak Kid. Yeah. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. That's new slang, right? That's what the hip kids say, right? I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I am literally not gonna hold y'all long because there ain't much to say this week. There ain't much to say at all. I'm gonna border on becoming a broken record, saying the same crap over and over and over and over again. Because the same crap happens over and over and over and over again. And it's 4 minutes and 47 seconds intro. I mean, the less said, the better, probably. And tell you the truth, you know, because I always have an excuse or a reason on why I get on these airwaves. Only reason I'm even doing a podcast right now is because I have a lot of things to do tomorrow, or y'all would have got this episode a couple hours late, like y'all been getting for the whole month of November. But hence, since we're in a new month, December, the last month of the season, the last month of the year, should I say, I figured, you know what? Let me try to get back on track, give y'all, the masses, what y'all truly need. Get this angst, get this venom out while I have a chance to, and actually free up my whole Monday without having to talk about the Jets. Because the shit that I saw today is disgusting. I'll get into the meat of this episode. But I'll give y'all a rundown on what this episode is going to be about. Unfortunately, it's going to be about yet another loss in the loss column for Gangrene, for the Jets. This time against the Atlanta Falcons. That little clip, that little voicemail that you heard at the very beginning of this episode is from my brother-in-law, Mr. Low Fat Beats. Yeah, Mr. Low Fat Beats. An Atlanta Falcon fan because, he lives in the state of Georgia. Some would say he lives on the outskirts of Atlanta. I got to deal with him during baseball season with the Atlanta Braves. We're finishing like 40 games behind them in the standings. I had to deal with them. This dude, the beginning of the season, during HGF, when I pretty much said Atlanta wasn't going to do much, but they're still on path of doing exactly what I told the Mets they were going to do. They're going to win about 8 or 9 games, maybe. Not going to be a whirlwind team, but they are leading the NFC South, which ain't saying much, but it's saying more than my beloved Jets. And I figured it would be prudent for me to actually don't act like I'm hot ducking and hiding from the smoke, because y'all know I don't duck no smoke, and put this episode out so he can have his glee, he can have his bragging rights for the next some odd years until we meet again. And but that voicemail was actually, I don't even remember. It was actually from, I think, the beginning of the season. And I kept it in the tuck because, COE, content over everything. Man, not really. But thank goodness I did keep it in the tuck for situations like this. So I could break it out. And I can't talk shit. I can't talk about how putrid the Falcons looked, how they have a quarterback quandary because they got better quarterback play than we did. Hence, why we lost 13-9. My bad. If we had 9, that would have gave 3 offensive scores. My bad. 13-8. Almost like a score that you would see at an Atlanta Braves game versus the New York Mets. For all my listeners, all my dozens and dozens of salty thoughts of Mike Steph listeners, that was the voice of none other, my brother-in-law, Low Fat Beats. And he's probably the only person, well, maybe the only person out of a handful of individuals walking on this earth that could talk shit, and I would sit there and take it. Is it possibly because the words in-law have something to do with it? Perhaps. But for some reason, I just can't get that venom toward Mr. Low Fat Beats. But I will say this, and I know this will be something that'll stick in his craw until next August. And I figured I'd say this out on the YouTube streets and not even give him the benefit of the doubt of texting it to him. So therefore, everybody know where this shit came from. It won't be just between you, me, and you, or you and I, whatever. It just won't be between us. before the mainstream, before the universe, so to speak. How about them dogs? And when I say how about them dogs, I'm talking about how about them Georgia Bulldogs? Yeah, yeah. 29 game winning streak out the window. Yeah, yeah. How about this for a saying? Roll Tide. And I don't even like Alabama. But in this case, I'm Alabama's #1 fan from New York right now because I know by me just uttering those two words, Roll Tide, I know your blood is boiling, your blood is blistering, and I can consider us, me and you, even Steven. Yeah. So with all that out the way, salute, bro. With all that out the way, this week's episode is going to be very short. Should probably not even get to the hour mark. Unfortunately, I would talk about my New York Jets and their latest debacle at MetLife Stadium. You know, this time to the Atlanta Falcons. I will talk about how me going against my principles cost me severe coin today in the returning segment of Mike Steph must have bumped his mother effing head, aka my gambling foray for this week. And then I'm gonna get up out of here because I got a doctor's appointment later on this morning because right now it's about 12:16 in the AM, and I'm stepping to the AM. What's the time? You know what time it is. It's time to get this shit on the road. So, without further ado, good night. And goodbye. Bang! The Jets lose to the Falcons. But what's more important is what's in the parentheses. Why am I still watching this team? That's a good question, right? It's a good question. Because unfortunately, I was indoctrinated into Jets Nathan. I was indoctrinated. I done got myself all tongue-tied, and guess what? Ain't no going back now. I was born into this misery. And my mother wasn't a football fan. My grandmother wasn't a football fan. I was just born into this by pure luck, or should I say lack of luck. I don't even know where to start. 13-8 was the score in the dreary, raining destination, place, stadium, Jet Life Stadium. See, when we started saying Jet Life Stadium, I should have known the bottom was going to fall out. I have something that I was going to debut on Hidden Jets Football, but fuck it. I'm going to debut it right now. It's called The Kiss of Steph. Yeah. You know how you say the kiss of death? Like, whenever I start bigging up a team, whenever I start predicting the good fortunes of a franchise, of a situation, of a label, of a crew, and I give them that certified kiss of Steph, guess what? Everything goes down the drain. And when I say everything goes down the drain, I mean everything goes down the drain. I said in the preseason that these New York Jets were going to win about 10 games. And that was just being kind to the rest of the division, to the rest of the conference. Because we had weapons out of every position. We had multiple wide receivers. We had multiple running backs. We had Aaron Rodgers with his coordinator that he won back-to-back MVPs about 3 years ago. It was nothing we could do. Nothing wrong we could do. And of course, what happens 4 plays in, Aaron Rodgers gets out of here. All the plethora of weapons that we had, nowhere to be found. The defense. Can't say much about the defense. Defense is doing their job. Doing the job of a heroic job to tell you the truth. But this game, from 3 minutes and 41 seconds remaining in the third quarter, this was a 1-score game. All we had to do, and I say that like it's easy, all we had to do was score a touchdown. Because our defense was holding the Falcons in check. Our defense held Desmond Ridder 12 of 27 for 121 yards. But guess what? He had 1 touchdown. It got so bad, as if it couldn't get worse. And it really now is making me wonder, does Coach Sala really know what he's doing? Or he's just throwing his hands up like, look, fire me, pay me. Pretty much, F you, pay me. Because you benched Zach Wilson. And this is going to come off as if I'm a Zach Wilson apologist. And maybe I am. You benched Zach Wilson coming off a 16-12 Sunday night loss against the Las Vegas Raiders, right? On a short week. Matter of fact, no. Then you gave him one more chance against the Buffalo Bills, in which he effectively shit the bed, and you just say, you know what, enough is enough. Then you give Tim Boyle, to start on a short week against the Miami Dolphins because you were looking for a spark. We had 50 yards going into the fourth quarter during that game against Miami, but I digress. So you roll the dice again. You say, you know what? With 9 days preparation, Tim Boyle should be able to give us a representative showing, get the ball out, get the ball into our playmakers. What playmakers, I don't know, but get the balls into our playmakers and give us a chance to actually get that forbidden zone, aka the end zone, aka scoring a touchdown. You know what Tim Boyle did today? 14 to 25, 148 yards, 1 interception. So they end up turning to my partner's favorite backup quarterback. You know, the one he said, Trevor Siemian. Excuse me for one moment. Damn, bronchitis still effing with me. We turn to Trevor Siemian once again and look for that almighty spark. Trevor, in his limited time of duty, get this. He was 5 of 13 for 66 yards, sacked 3 times, and he fumbled 3 times also. One of them he lost. Not only that, he was making asinine decisions of, okay, if you know that the Atlanta Falcons defense was selling out on the run, and they're daring you one-on-one on the outside, and you have a dynamic receiver in Garrett Wilson, why are you taking deep shots to Tyler Conklin? Answer me that. Riddle me that. Why are you focusing on Xavier Gibson, who did have a decent game, 5 catches, 77 yards. Why are you focusing on that when all we need is one score, one touchdown, one key drive? We had the ball twice within the last 3 minutes of the game. He coughed it up once. Defense held, coughed it up again. Game over. There's not much to say. The only thing I can say is at 4-8, loses a 5 straight. The only maybe the only blessing in disguise is this. All these pipe dreams of Aaron Rodgers actually returning on the field can finally be laid to rest. Even though I said in my special Sprinkle of Salt episode, audio only on all streaming platforms wherever podcasts are available, that they should put his ass out on the field. If he dies, he dies. If he gets injured, he gets injured. So be it. Does it really matter? I think not. At least we know what we have going into offseason. He even said as much. He's like, look, what's the worst thing that can happen? I get re-injured, and then I got the rest of the offseason to rehab and try it over again, which is kind of crazy. But we have 5 games left in this season. This was supposed to be a winnable game. We have another winnable game, quote unquote, against the Commanders. I don't know how winnable that game is going to be, but so be it. Then the Suck Bowl at the end of the year against the New England Patriots, who 2 weeks in a row, well, within the last 2 weeks, they've only scored 7 points. But look at it this way. Shoot. The last 2 weeks, we scored 14 points. So how about that? Hackett should be out of here because right now it's not just a coincidence that he was in charge of Denver, and I saw people trying to shoot him bail this week of, well, you know, when the 15 games, the 16 games he was coaching Denver, you know, he wasn't the offensive coordinator. Yeah, all right. Yeah, 15 games in Denver. Worst offense damn near in recent history. He has 12 games here in New York. Worst offense in recent history. We're a record-breaking offense. And not in a good way. Like, we're breaking records in the worst way possible, as in infertility. Futile. Resistance is futile. No, a first down is futile. A touchdown is futile. A penalty-free drive is futile. I think we had 11 penalties for 77 yards. You know what? I'm going to go to the stats right now. 11 penalties for 71 yards. We were sacked 4 times. We coughed the ball up 3 times. We had 259 yards of total offense, but we held our opposition to 194 yards of total offense, and we lost by 5 points. Ain't that a bitch? We were 2 for 15 with third down conversions. We ran the ball 25 times for a grand total of 62 yards. You know, our leading rusher was actually Dalvin Cook, who actually had a decent game of 9 rushes for 35 yards before he got the hook, and they put Breece Hall in, who coincidentally, as of like 11 o'clock this morning, was ruled out due to a hamstring. But yet I turned on my TV. Yeah, I said it 3 times. And who do I see on that field? Breece Hall. So what, was he hurt or was he not hurt? But I say all that to say this. Nathaniel Hackett, there has to be some type of collateral damage when it comes to the season. Because right now, like I said, there's a big possibility that we're going to end this season on a 10-game losing streak. And how do you bring the band all fully intact back together next season on a 10-game losing streak? Once again, we are 4-14 in the last 18 games. Since we were 7-4 last season, we are 4-14. How do you bring the band back together? At this point, if Aaron Rodgers tells you, look, either you bring Hackett back or I'm gone, sayonara, peace, adios, arrivederci, vamos, scram, fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Because he's the difference to a certain degree. He's made us worse than we were last year. We had Mike LaFleur, who everybody threw, did darts and did bows and arrows at. In charge of the Rams, and yeah, you could say Sean McVay has a lot to do with it, but listen, Sean McVay hired Mike LaFleur for a reason. They put 36 up on Cleveland. They're 6-6. He comes from that Shanahan tree. That's why we brought him, right? We had a better offense last year than we had this year. At least last year, we could say it was the quarterback. This year, it's the quarterback / offense. Offensive game plan, offensive coordinator, offensive staff. How can you bring them back? How? How can you bring them back? This Dowling, or whatever the hell his name is, the run game coordinator or the offensive line coordinator. Our team is probably in the bottom third for rushing. We haven't had a good rushing game. Breece Hall had a good game since the Denver game. And that was what, week 5? In no way did they ever learn how to incorporate Dalvin Cook into this offense. Supposedly you have 2 thoroughbreds in the backfield, and you never have them on the field together. Izzy Abanikanda was supposed to be an infusion of youth. Where the fuck is he? I saw Alan Lazard's ass back in the high life again. Back in the high life again. Why? CJ Uzomah had an unfortunate injury. But is he really going to be missed? And that's no shade to his injury. Just like, all right, so he won't be on the field and have a costly penalty. Lazard to replace him. Matter of fact, how about you put Lazard at tight end? Matter of fact, how about you put Lazard tight end on the bench again? Like, there's so much not to say when it comes to this team. Like, there's really nothing to say. Robert Saleh said in the post-game conference, when asked, well, you tried Tim Boyle, which is crazy because he gave Tim Boyle a quicker hook than Zach Wilson all these games, but now we kind of know why. Put Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian was worse. There's a reason why he wasn't activated up until Black Friday. Because he sucks. So when he was asked, okay, are we gonna try, you thinking about putting Zach back in? He said, oh yeah, I'm not there yet. Like, listen, there's no situation that I can foresee that I would ever put him on the field again in the Jets uniform. Like, why? Because right now you're proving yourself to either be a liar, which I don't want to accuse Salah being, or in a roundabout way, letting people know that there were strings being pulled beyond your control. And right now, you really could care less than two whats. Because for weeks, his go-to answer was Zach Wilson gives us the best chance to win. Zach Wilson at quarterback gives us the best opportunity to win. Now, in the last 2.5 weeks, it's gone from Zach Wilson gives us the best opportunity to I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to put him back on the field yet. If we ever get there. So, in other words, you're just saying you're going to flush the rest of the seat. Because at this point in time, you have nothing to lose. Nothing. It'll probably be in your best interest to put Zach on the field to try to increase whatever minuscule, if any, trade value. Maybe you can salvage a 6th-round pick for him just based on skill set, just based on maybe an amazing throw that one of these coordinators will be out there like, you know what? Give me that mound of clay and let me mold it. Let me get him into our program because evidently he's being mishandled and mismanaged out in New York. I believe I'm really at a loss for words, which is crazy because that's kind of my job of being on Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph, right? Is to actually talk. But I'm at a loss for words. What else is there to be said? Coach Hackett. And the only reason I'm even bringing him back up is because that's the title of this damn episode. The Jets can't hack it. Or should I say the Hackett can't hack it. He's worse than his pops. Paul Hackett, former offensive coordinator of the same New York Jets back in the mid to early 90s. I believe under Bruce Coslett. From the Bill Walsh system. From the Bill Walsh tree. From the West Coast system. Inventor of 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Inventor of the Chuck and Duck. Inventor of 25 or 38 for 29 yards. Yeah. I might be exaggerating, but that was close to a thing. He's matter of fact, not almost, he's worse than his pops. This family tree, this nepotism in the NFL shows itself out when it comes to why Nathaniel Hackett is on his 3rd job in 3 years and why he ain't ran out the fucking league. Nepotism at its best. Cronies at its best. Shoot. I guess we should be lucky that we didn't get Frank Reich, right? Yeah, so next week we go against the Houston Texans. They come into MetLife Stadium, albeit missing one of their top wide receivers. But guess what? It's not the offense that we got to worry about. It's our offense we got to worry about. According to Robert Saleh, he'll have a better answer for the masses on Monday concerning what he saw in the All-22, what he saw on the tape, who's going to be the starting quarterback next Sunday. And I guess I should give an answer of whether or not I'm actually gonna be talking about these mother effers next Sunday. And right now, it's kind of leaning toward nah. I feel like I said, I don't feel. You know what? I was gonna say I feel sorry for the hardworking players on that team. I feel sorry for the defense. You know what? You know who I should feel sorry for? Myself. You know who I should feel sorry for? The Jets fan, the Jets faithful. That week in and week out, turn on that boo tube and look at this shit. And know damn well we have no chance in hell on winning, but yet we'll cling on to hope that a miracle can be made, a miracle can be had. I swear, this team is almost well. Matter of fact, yeah, I'm going to blame it on them, even though it's been past that. This team has almost made me give up my favorite color being green for the shade of blue. But that's a damn lie because my favorite colors are blue, orange, and green. Looking like a Christmas ornament. Anyway. Freaking ridiculous. Freaking ridiculous.
Sorry, I'm not trying to.
No, you can interrupt. What you have to say? That's my lovely daughter Mia. Y'all know Mia. Say hi to the guys and girls or people.
Hi, people.
See? Yes, it's been a minute. What you gonna say?
No, I'm just checking in on you. That was it. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh yeah, your father lost some money again. But what else is new?
Who did you bet on?
Actually, I didn't bet on the Jets. I didn't bet on the Jets. And matter of fact, while we're talking about it, let me just change this to Mike Steph must have bumped his mother effing head.
So what was your team?
Okay. I did what they call a parlay. I gotta explain this to my daughter so she can understand why I do this every week without any substantial gain. There's such thing called a parlay, meaning multiple bets at the same time, but you have to get all, in my case this week, I had to get 4 outcomes correct in order for me to get my money.
Okay.
Right? So I bet on 4 games. Right? Matter of fact, I bet on the Jets game, but not for them to win. No. I bet that they combined the combined score of their game was not going to be over 33 points.
Okay.
You know what the score was? 13 to 8. How many points is that? 13 plus 8 is darn, yeah. You hear the quick response where my college tuition went to, right?
21.
21, yes. After 30 seconds. So I won on that bet, right? So then I bet, matter of fact, I don't even need to go to my phone because I remember exactly what bets I did. Then I had, there was a game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Cleveland Browns, right? I had the Rams to win by 3.5 points. You know what they did? They actually won. They beat the Browns, 36-19. So they beat them by how many points? 36 take away 19 is 17. They beat them by 17 points, meaning I won. Right? All right, I'll stop putting you on the spot because I know. So that was 2. So then I had darn, why am I blanking? There was another game that I had. Yeah, I had Detroit beating New Orleans by at least 3.5 points. They beat New Orleans 33-28. So they beat them by 5 points. So I'm like, all right, 3 out of 4. Okay. So the fourth game was Philadelphia. I bet Philadelphia to beat San Francisco by more than 3 points. Matter of fact, no. I bet that Philadelphia would not get beat by more than 3 points by San Francisco. That means if Philly would have won, everything's gravy. But if they lost, they couldn't lose more than 3.
Okay.
You know how many? Just tell me the score of that.
Where is the score at?
Right here, these two numbers.
What, 42-19?
Yeah, 42-19. San Francisco beat Philly 42-19. My recollection, that's 23 points. That's way more than the 3 points that they could afford to be beat by. So I would have won $260. Off a $20 bet. You know how much I won?
Nothing.
Yes, correct. And what number is nothing? 0. And I had an opportunity to cash out. They gave me the option before the games was over. All right, it's not looking good, but you're ahead in 3 of the four games that you bet. Do you want to just take this $60 and run? And I was like, you know what? I was tempted. Because I'm like, look, that triples my initial bet. But nah, I'm going to let this shit ride. And then all of a sudden, I saw 60 dwindle to 30. I saw 30 dwindle to 10. I saw 10 dwindle to 25 cents. Yeah. And then I saw that 25 cents. I think this was even more disrespectful. That 25 cents went down to 18. Then it went down to 13. And then it just says cash out suspended because guess what? Yum ass lost. Because Mike Steph bumped his mother effing head and not cashing out that $60 and keep it moving. So yeah. So this is week 13. And I've won a total of 1 week. Meaning I am officially in the red. Thank goodness I'm not a big spender when it comes to gambling, but at the same time, you at least want to break even. I done lost track of how much in the red I'm at. Maybe over 100. But guess what? I'm going to persevere. I'm going to move on. I'm going to continue. Because one of these weeks, I'm going to hit.
Good luck.
Yeah, my daughter said good luck, but she did it in a way of, yeah, you probably better off quitting while you're ahead. But what can I say? But to be more specific, the one game that cost me, the one game that pissed me off, sorry, it's all that you can say. The trouble I'm in and still. Yeah, well, anyway. The game that ultimately cost me was the Eagles and the 49ers. Now, this goes back to the kiss of Steph. All the Philadelphia Eagles slander that I've given the Eagles since last year, how I can't stand their coach, which I don't. I don't like their coach. How their fan base is very annoying, which they are. How their whole organization is a bunch of whining pieces of crap, which they are, because, oh, the turf. Oh, it's not our fault that we knocked 2 of your quarterbacks out. Oh, it's not our fault. We can only play who's in front of us. The one time I actually have faith And I said it this past week that I felt that Philly was actually being disrespected by being an underdog, a 3-point underdog at home against these 49ers. Even though everything lined up to say that the 49ers were going to win. I didn't think they were going to win by 23 points. But I thought that there was a big possibility, but I thought it was going to be nip and tuck. Philly ran out to a 6-0 lead, and then it was all to the races. For the 49ers, that is. I mean, you have Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy threw for 314 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 70% passing. Christian McCaffrey had 93 yards on 17 carries. Debo had a touchdown. Matter of fact, yeah, Debo had 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing, and two receiving. Four receptions for 116 yards. I underestimated the power of revenge. I did. Matter of fact, I really didn't. I just was like, well, you know, I just felt that betting against Philly, especially after they've proven week in and week out that somehow, some way, they pull it out at the end, I thought that would be fool's gold with Philly at home. But maybe I went to the well maybe they went to the well once too often. Just perhaps. Or, and this is a big possibility, or Philly, the karma of the Philadelphia Eagles is like, hold on, it comes down to us for this mother effer to score. It comes down to us for this mother effer to actually cash in on our success after everything that he said about us in the past. F him. And I think that's probably what happened. Like I said, the kiss of Steph. It's a thing. It really is a thing. You know how it's a thing? How about this? I'm going to play a clip, which is going to double as promotion for Hidden Just Football of this past week's episode, in which me and the Mojo King were breaking down this past Thursday night's game with Seattle and the Dallas Cowboys, and how wrong I was and what was going to be the eventual outcome. So yeah, listen, still a better offering than we was getting early this season. You know, Seattle is struggling. Dallas is Dallas at home. You know, I'll start with Seattle. Seattle, you know, after a 5-2 start, they've lost 3 of the last 4 games, with their lone victory coming against the Washington Commanders. So, and that was a nip and tuck battle, if I do recall. Now, one would think that destruction that they had when they visited the Baltimore Ravens, when they got blown out 37-3, it seems like they haven't recovered since. It's almost like they got exposed for not being as good as their record said they were. Now, I feel like with them not being fully healthy, and especially at the quarterback position, I'm very, very doubtful that they're going to put up a representative showing. Now, when it comes to the Cowboys, same narrative, same script. You know, they're 8-1 now against losing teams, coming off their Thanksgiving Day victory, the Thanksgiving Day massacre against the Commanders. Will they stumble? Now, the question with this game to me is, will they stumble in this game, looking past this game to next week's game against the Philadelphia Eagles? So, getting down to the nitty gritty, coming down to this game,
I think there was a stat that you said last week, if I'm not mistaken, that a lot of the Cowboys games, whether positively or negatively, always ended up in like a double-digit spread, except for one or two. And like as much as I'm afraid to bet the Cowboys consistently with these big spreads, tell you the truth, they've been covering these big spreads.
I think you made some great points there. Seattle's lost 3 of their last 4. Geno's elbow is, I think, a big key to that. They got crushed by the Ravens and the 49ers, 2 elite teams. I guess there's a little bit of shame in that to get crushed. They got embarrassed by them. They also lost to the Rams in a close game, and the only win of the last 4 was against the Washington Commanders. Meanwhile, Dallas has won 5 of their last 6. Their loss to Philadelphia, again, nothing bad, no shame in that. But their best wins have come against the 2 Los Angeles teams, which are But as I've just pointed out, the Seattle lost to the Rams. Dallas did not. I have the Cowboys minus the 9.5. I feel pretty confident about that. But what I feel even better about is I expect Dallas to put up over 30, which to me will make it an over game. So I have over and I have Dallas minus 9. I'm probably going to do a little parlay with that one.
See, at least somebody hopefully got some bread. But at least somebody didn't get the kiss of Steph. Because he did say Dallas was going to go for 30 points, and he was going for the over. And I think I was like, yeah. See, I stopped even listening to my own self. Because the outro. And, gotta get up out of here. But, yeah. One of these weeks, I'll tell you, one of these weeks. Now, one of these weeks will probably not be next week. Next week, I will be recording. I will be dropping. I will be out here. I'll be outside. But no, next week's edition is going to be a little different. I will probably give a little bit of Jets talk, but it will not be dominated by Jets talk. It probably won't be dominated by sports talk at all. Next Sunday is December 10th, 12/10/23. It'll be 1 year, an exact 1 year from what I know. I won't even say deem. What I know was a life-changing event for yours truly. And what I pride myself on when it comes to this platform has been being somewhat transparent, always real, and going off the beaten path more times than others. Next week, I probably will be my most vulnerable and very emotional for a myriad of reasons. But I could have chosen to say, you know what, next week I ain't recording. I'm going to do me. But I feel that once I record and whatever comes out my spout, y'all will understand why it was actually important for me to record on that day and talk about the stuff that I have a good idea what I'm going to talk about. So that's what's going to be on deck next week. An anniversary of sorts. An anniversary of freedom in some respects. But like I said, you're if you tune in next week, and hopefully you will, you'll truly understand by the conclusion of that episode what I'm hinting at in this episode. Also, 12/10/23 is a date that I've talked about in the past, I'm still not letting the cat out the bag. Y'all can think whatever y'all want to think. If you have a good idea, you might be correct. You might not be. But 12/10/23 will be a special date for something else also. I would just say this. My rap career, well, matter of fact, I wouldn't even say career because shit was always a hobby. But my rap persona died last year, December 10th, 2022. That persona, whose name was on the previous iteration of the Salty Doors podcast, ceased to exist technically last December 10th, 2022. In memory of that event, and normally, and this not, I'm not trying to be, what you call it, macabre over it, but normally in times like that, it's kind of somber. No, no. In order for me to go on, in order for Mike to be truly free and for Mike to be truly alive, Mike had to be Mike, and Donnie no longer could exist. So, in commemoration for that, next week, be on the lookout on some streaming platforms where music is available. And if you see something, then you see something. That's all I'm going to say for now. I will actually let the cat out the bag next week on the actual date. So yeah, I know that didn't make much sense, but trust and believe next week when you're watching the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph, it'll make perfect sense. Yeah, because we're in the season of giving, right? And what I'm choosing to give is a new lease on life. Well, that's what I chose to give myself over the last 51 weeks. So, yeah. So, with all that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Actually, before the hour mark, which is great. Um, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all for checking out the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph because we're at the end of another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph. Check out the audio version, Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, available on the following platforms: Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Pretty much wherever streaming platforms, wherever podcasts are available. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Check out the latest episode that dropped, the audio-only edition of Sprinkle of Salt, detailing the Black Friday debacle on these Jets. Check me out on the gram at Mike_Steph. Check me out on TikTok at Mike Steph _ and check me out on X at Mike Steffens _. And while you're there, check out the other entity, Hidden Just Football, hosted by the Mojo King and myself, Mike Steph. New episodes drop each and every Thursday on the YouTube page of the 19 Media Group and on all, when I say all, I mean all streaming platforms wherever podcasts are available. Yeah. So, hope you like my little setup because that's courtesy of my wife. She said, you know what? I'm tired of you just putting my picture in the background. We got to get this picture a nice, stable home. And home it is. And that way I can actually show off my board games of Sorry, Trouble, Connect Four, Dominoes, and Uno. Uno, dos, tres. And with all that being said, I'm getting out of here. So until next week, be good. Be easy. Peace. Goodbye. Damn. Time for me to go to sleep. Always do this shit.